Well, there's obviously a lot going on around the ANC. Confirmation now that the former leader of the ANC Women's League, Bathabile Dlamini, is lodging a legal application to overturn the decision by the party's elections committee to disqualify her from running for a position on the ANC's National Executive Committee. The elections committee says Dlamini and Tony Yengeni both don't qualify because they have serious criminal convictions. Yengeni was convicted of corruption during the arms deal. Dlamini was convicted of perjury in March this year for lying under oath about her role in the social grants payments scandal. Prince Mashele is a political analyst. He joins us now. Prince, good afternoon to you. Both Dlamini and Yengeni claim they've been treated unfairly. Do you think they'll be able to argue that when you consider the situation in the ANC at the moment?
Afternoon, Stephen, and thanks for inviting me. No, I don't think they will succeed because the rules are clear, the step-aside rules, that if you have been charged, you step aside in order for you to face your case. If you have been convicted, you cannot be allowed to participate in the ANC, in a leadership position in the ANC. So the rules are clear. I don't think they will succeed.
I mean, Tony Yengeni was a member of the NEC which adopted the rules, right?
Yes, he was. I don't think he imagined that these rules would come back to bite him. Maybe he didn't think that they would apply retrospectively. But there was no way that it could be off the hook. If you have been convicted, you have been convicted. So you can't say those who were convicted before the rules were adopted cannot be subjected to the rules. Rules are rules.
Nduduzi Manana, former Deputy Minister of Higher Education, we've all seen the video from 2017 where he assaulted a woman outside a nightclub. He pled guilty, if I recall, paid a fine. And yet it seems he can contest for a position on the NEC.
I actually don't understand why they are allowing him to contest, because he actually did admit that he was guilty. And in my interpretation, at least, he is supposed to be subjected to the same fate that Bathabile Dlamini and Tony Yengeni are facing.
So if I were a lawyer arguing for Bathabile Dlamini, I'd use Manana as my example. I'd say, why is he allowed to and I'm not? I mean, you could start to really make the situation a bit more complicated for the ANC. You would demand consistency.
Yeah, look, I don't know how the court would look at the circumstances, but my sense is that you could use Manana as a basis for arguing that if the rules don't bite him, they should not bite the rest. But such are matters that the court would competently handle. But you see, there are two realms here. There is the court, but there's also the ANC. They would have to convince ANC members that the rules that they adopted as rules that should guide their organizations are wrong and they should be repealed. So there's that battle as well, which is not a legal battle, but a political battle. I doubt if numbers, if they would muster the necessary numbers to change those rules.
The other thing is, I mean, isn't this really a fight for the battle for the soul of the ANC? It's a phrase that's been used many times since around 2007. But the point is, if the ANC can't keep out people who are criminals from leadership positions, I mean, isn't that, the battle for the soul of the ANC right there? This is actually a really crucial issue. It's something that really matters to the future of the party, and I suspect may matter to voters.
You are right, but the problem is that it would be very difficult, by the way, if you were to apply the eye of the needle, and this is a document that was written by the ANC itself. It would be very difficult for almost all the leaders of the ANC to go through that. And the problem with the Bathabile Dlaminis of this world is that they look at the other side, and they cannot see angels on the other side. That's a problem. And then they, therefore, have the feeling that they are being selectively punished because they know that everyone has what Bathabile Dlamini has called smallanyana skeletons. That's the problem. There are no angels in the ANC. So that argument that you are constructing, Stephen, wouldn't hold water in the context of an ANC that is full of thugs on either side.
I mean, there's so many different elements to this. Kgalema Motlanthe, the former president, he's chair of the Elections Committee, he said at the ANC policy conference, and I think he said it more than once, he said that the ANC should just have been following its own constitution, which meant that people who had been convicted of serious crimes should have been expelled. Now, we all remember how Tony Yengeni went to prison, literally on the shoulders of ANC members. I mean, famously, Baleka Mbete was there many years ago now to Pollsmoor. Now, no one should really celebrate someone who's going to prison. I don't think that's correct. On the other hand, if he had been expelled at that moment, could we be dealing with a very different ANC today?
I think so. You see, I remember those events. They argued that revolutionary morality, and I'm using their words here, revolutionary morality does not allow them to desert a comrade when a comrade is in trouble. That was actually the beginning of the problem. He was convicted. The ANC constitution is very clear. They should have expelled him from the organization. If they did so, they would have avoided the situation that they are in now, because they did not expel Tony Yengeni at the time. So Bathabile, Dlamini and the rest who are convicted are right to feel aggrieved that they are being punished, but previously a person like Tony Yengeni was not expelled and was not dealt with. He was re-elected over and over again into the NEC.
There's another thing I want to put to you about the conference. So it starts on Friday morning. We expect at this stage, I think most people are expecting a sort of two-person race for the position of leader, although many different things can happen. I've started to see some analysis and some commentary suggesting that one of the outcomes could actually just be chaos. As I understand it, former President Jacob Zuma has told people not to let President Ramaphosa speak when he gives a political report to the conference. There'll be an organizational report, which I think is going to be delivered by the current Deputy President, David Mabuza. Are you worried that there could be quite a contested outcome, that there could be a difficult conference in terms of just management and discipline?
Look, I've been saying it. I'm not sure if people have been listening, that there are two scenarios in that conference. Scenario number one is that Cyril Ramaphosa would win. That's what I've been saying. Long before even the nominations were announced, I could read dynamics within the ANC that Cyril Ramaphosa stood a better chance of winning. And I said, on condition that there is order in that conference, which takes us to the second scenario. And I said it should not be ruled out that the other element, when they realize that they won't win, they would cause chaos. So I said it is possible for that conference to descend into chaos. I agree, by the way, with those who are saying it now, that there is a possibility of chaos there. And if they do so, the strategy would be, come early next year, then they would say the leadership of the ANC that is in office has no legitimacy. So yes, I'm not worried because, to be honest, I don't care about the ANC. But it's a scenario we should entertain because it would have implications for the governance of our country. So if the governing party has chaos, its leadership has no legitimacy within its own organization, obviously there will be bigger questions about the legitimacy of such a leadership to lead our country.
Prince Mashele, political analyst, thank you very much indeed. Really do appreciate the time on Newsfeed this afternoon.